Sarah stared at the crisp, white envelope on her granite kitchen island. The gold embossed seal of Willow Creek Homeowners Association glaring like a judgmental eye. Her fingers, still bandaged from yesterday's gardening mishap, hesitated before slicing it open. The paper inside felt heavy, official, like it carried the weight of her entire world. Notice of emergency compliance hearing, it read in bold, sans serif font. Her heart stuttered. They were claiming she was unfit to maintain her property, citing emotional instability following the accident. The room spun slightly as she read on. Potential conservatorship over her home. Fines escalating to liens. Impossible for sale if she didn't comply. All because of that damned bird feeder and a few overgrown azaleas? No, this was deeper. This was Karen Whitaker's doing. The HOA president who'd been circling like a shark since Mark and little Emma died 6 months ago. The coffee maker beeped, jolting her back. She poured a mug, black and steaming, and sank onto a bar stool. Memories flooded in, the screech of tires on that rainy night. The hospital's sterile beep fading to silence. Mark gone instantly, Emma lingering for days. Sarah had barely left the ICU, holding her daughter's tiny hand while machines hummed. Meanwhile, Karen had sent concerned emails about the unkempt lawn, as if grief excused nothing in Willow Creek's perfect facade. We're all about community standards, Karen had cooed at the last HOA meeting, her pearl necklace choking her like a noose of hypocrisy. Sarah hadn't responded then, too numb. But now, this paper was war. She grabbed her phone, dialing her neighbor, old Mr. Jenkins, who'd been on the HOA board before Karen ousted him in a coup of baked goods and backroom whispers. They can't do this, right? Sarah's voice cracked. Jenkins sighed through the line. Karen's got the board wrapped around her finger. Claims your episodes, crying in your driveway, forgetting to mow, prove your liability. She's pushing for control, probably to flip your house to her developer buddy. Sarah's grip tightened. Episodes? That was one time, after scattering Emma's ashes, when the wind caught them and she broke down. Karen had filmed it from her window, no doubt. Hanging up, Sarah paced the kitchen, sunlight filtering through blinds onto Mark's old toolbox in the corner. He'd built this home from the ground up, customizing every inch to defy HOA cookie-cutter rules, with variances they'd fought for years ago. Now, Karen wanted it all? A beep interrupted, an incoming call from Karen herself. Sarah answered, stealing her tone. Hello. Oh, Sarah. Dear. Karen's voice dripped saccharine concern, like syrup over poison. I hope you got a little notice. It's for the best. Really. After your tragedies, you're not yourself. We're just helping maintain property values. Sarah bit her lip. Helping? By threatening to take my home. Karen chuckled lightly. Don't be dramatic. It's temporary oversight. Think of it as community support. The line went dead, but Sarah's resolve ignited. No more silence. That afternoon, she rifled through Mark's study, dust motes dancing in the air. Files spilled out, old HOA minutes, where Karen had proposed banning unsightly memorials, like the small plaque Sarah placed for Emma in the garden. Buried deeper, Mark's old tablet, forgotten since the crash. She powered it on, battery clinging to life. A notification popped. Unsent draft email with attachments. Heart pounding. She opened it. Screenshots of text between Karen and her cronies on the board. Once we get conservatorship, the house is primed for resale, Karen had written. Her insurance payout will cover any fines we stack. Another, document her breakdowns, makes her look unfit. The dates? While Emma was still in a coma. Sarah's vision blurred with rage. They'd been plotting even as she grieved. She printed everything. Hand steady now. This wasn't just about rules. It was greed masked as governance. Willow Creek's HOA fees funded Karen's lavish community events, but Whisper said she skimmed for personal gain. Sarah's home, on the largest lot, was the jewel. Evening fell as she sat on the porch, watching neighbors' lights flicker on. Mrs. Patel across the street waved hesitantly. Karen had probably spread rumors. Sarah waved back, plotting. She'd play their game, but smarter. The next morning, Sarah drove to the local law firm, clutching her folder like a shield. Attorney Elena Vasquez greeted her in a no-nonsense suit, coffee steaming on her desk. HOA overreach? Elena scanned the notice. Classic Karen playbook. They can't declare you unfit without evidence. But they fast-tracked a hearing. Sarah slid the screenshots across. They planned this before my daughter died. Elena's eyes widened. This shows motive. Greed, not concern. They strategized. Counter with proof of Karen's abuses. Rally sympathetic neighbors. Expose the farce. Back home, Sarah documented everything. Photos of her immaculate, now, yard. Time-stamped. Journal entries. Mowed lawn at 8 a.m. No episodes. She even recorded calls. When Karen's minion, Bob from the board, knocked that evening, she hit record. Just checking compliance, he said, clipboard in hand. Heard you've been emotional. Sarah smiled thinly. Emotional? Like how Karen cries foul over every unapproved flower pot. Bob shifted. Rules are rules. She nodded. So is fraud. Word spread subtly. At the corner store, whispers. Karen's gunning for Sarah's place. A few neighbors slipped notes under her door, anonymous support. One read, she fined me $500 for a pink flamingo. Fight back. Sarah's grief twisted into fuel. Nights, she'd stare at Emma's empty room, toys untouched, but now with purpose. Karen wanted her broken? She'd show unbreakable. The hearing loomed in 3 days. Sarah prepared, practicing statements in the mirror. I'm not unstable. I'm human. Elena called. We have precedent. Judge hates HOA bullies. Hope flickered, but so did doubt. What if they won? Lose the home where Mark proposed, where Emma learned to walk. No, she'd fight. File 1 ends here. Word count approximately 1,000. As the sun dipped low over Willow Creek's identical rooftops, Sarah's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Watch your back. Karen's rallying. She peered through curtains across the cul-de-sac. Karen's SUV idled, windows down, as she chatted with 2 board members, gesturing wildly towards Sarah's house. Laughter carried on the breeze, sharp and mocking. Sarah's jaw clenched. This was escalation, the smear campaign in full swing. That night, she couldn't sleep, replaying the accident, Mark swerving to avoid a deer, the car flipping, sirens, then silence. HO notices had arrived even before the funerals. Maintain appearances during difficult times. Karen at the wake. Plastic smile. If you need help with the yard. Dear, just say. We can't have weeds bringing down the neighborhood. Sarah had nodded numbly then. Now, she'd exposed the vulture beneath the veneer. Morning brought more, an email blast to the community. Anonymous, but reeking of Karen. Concerned about a resident's declining mental state affecting property values. Attached, blurry photo of Sarah kneeling in her garden. Tears evident, taken days after the crash. Comments flooded the HOA forum. She needs help. Sell before it tanks our equity. Sarah's blood boiled. Black humor hit. Here she was, widowed and childless. Yet the real tragedy was her petunias. She called Elena. They're poisoning the well. Elena chuckled darkly. Typical. We'll use it, shows harassment. Sarah spent the day canvassing quietly, knocking on doors of those Karen had fined before. The Millers for unauthorized holiday lights. The Lees for a basketball hoop. She's coming for me now, Sarah said. Mister. Lee nodded. Count us in as witnesses. By dusk, She had 5 affidavits praising her stability, decrying Karen's tyranny. But Karen struck back. A knock, certified mail. Additional fines, $2,000 for neglected exterior. Sarah laughed bitterly. Neglected? She'd power washed the siding yesterday. Recording on, she confronted Karen at the next impromptu compliance check. Karen stood on the stoop, pearls gleaming, flanked by Bob and another lackey. Muriel. Sarah. We're worried, Karen purred. Your outbursts, screaming at delivery men. Sarah crossed arms. Outbursts? Like your tantrum over the Johnson's blue door? It clashes with community harmony, you said. Karen's smile faltered. That's different. Rules maintain order. Order? Or your ego? Sarah shot back. Bob fidgeted. Muriel noted something on her pad. This will go in the report, Karen warned. Sarah smirked. Good. My lawyer loves evidence. The neighborhood buzzed. Whispers at mailboxes, Sarah's fighting back. Karen's facade cracked in subtle ways, snapping at a kid's lemonade stand for unpermitted commerce. Sarah documented it all, her journal filling with satirical notes. Day 47. Karen finds air for being too breezy. Elena arrived for a strategy session, spreading files on the dining table where family dinners once happened. Their evidence is laughable. A dermatologist friend signing off on your instability? Sarah snorted. Karen's yoga buddy. They laughed, but tension lingered. The hearing's tomorrow. Stay calm, they'll provoke. Sarah nodded, but inside, fury simmered. How dare they twist her grief into weakness? Dawn broke gray. Sarah dressed sharp, black blazer, no-nonsense ponytail, folder thick with counter-evidence. Driving to the community center, HOA hearings were informal, but this felt like court. Parking lot full, nosy neighbors crammed in. Karen held court up front, whispering to the board, her laugh tinkling falsely. The gavel fell, figurative, since it was a plastic mallet. Judge Pro Tem, a retired lawyer, called order. Karen presented first. Voice honeyed venom. Sarah's tragedies have understandably affected her. We've documented lapses, overgrown hedges, emotional displays. Slides flashed, Sarah crying. Yard before photos. Murmurs rippled. For the community's sake, we request oversight, perhaps appoint a conservator to manage her property. Sarah's fists clenched. Oversight? Code for seizure. Elena rose. This is baseless harassment. Mrs. Whitaker's motives are financial. Texts show plotting to resell the home. Gasps as screenshots projected. Karen blanched. Out of context, but the room shifted. Witnesses testified. Sarah's yard is fine. Karen's the unstable one. Find me for a welcome mat. Laughter bubbled, dark and satisfying. Karen exploded subtly. This is anarchy. Rules protect us. Sarah stood. Rules? Or your kickbacks from developers? The judge silenced her, but seeds planted. Recess called. Tension thick. In the hall, Karen cornered Sarah. Drop this, or we'll appeal. Drag it out till you're bankrupt. Sarah recorded covertly. Threats now? Classy. Karen's eyes narrowed. You're unstable. Everyone knows. Sarah smiled coldly. Projecting. Karen. Back in session. More dirt. Elena revealed Karen's embezzlement. HOA funds funneled to her consulting firm. Board members squirmed. The judge's brow furrowed. This smells of abuse. Karen stammered defenses, growing shrill. I maintained standards. But her poise shattered, voice cracking comically. Neighbors chuckled, that laugh and rage moment. Sarah's turn. I grieved privately. But Karen invaded, twisted pain for profit. Voice steady. She laid bare the absurdity. Fines for mourning too loudly. The room erupted in murmurs. Judge, petition denied. Investigation into HOA practices ordered. Karen's face crumpled, hysterical now. Pearls clutching like lifelines. Satisfaction surged through Sarah. Not just win, but exposure. But it wasn't over. Karen appealed informally, rallying loyalists. Sarah found her mailbox stuffed with anonymous threats, sell or suffer. Tires slashed overnight, classic petty revenge. Elena advised caution, document, don't engage. But Sarah engaged smartly, leaked the text to local news. HOA horror, grieving widow targeted. Headlines blared, championing the absurdity of suburban dictators. Neighbors turned, petitions to oust Karen circulated. At an emergency meeting, Karen ranted, "This witch hunt," slipping into parody. She banned negative energy. Laughter echoed, black humor peaking. Sarah watched from back, silent but smirking. The conflict boiled over in the following weeks. Willow Creek transforming from serene suburb to simmering cauldron of satire. Karen's appeals dragged on, but each move exposed more cracks in her empire. Sarah, once the quiet griever, became the neighborhood's reluctant hero. Her home a beacon of resistance against the HOA's ludicrous edicts. Mornings now started with strategy calls to Elena, coffee in hand, as they dissected Karen's latest maneuvers. "She's stacking fines like pancakes," Elena quipped. "But we'll flip them." One crisp afternoon, Sarah tended her garden, defiantly planting unapproved wildflowers, when Karen's SUV screeched up. Out she tumbled, clipboard waving like a battle flag, Bob and Muriel trailing like reluctant squires. "Violation!" Karen shrieked, pointing at a daisy. "Exotic species disrupt ecosystem harmony." Sarah straightened, gloves dirt-streaked. "Harmony? Like how you harmonize the Smith's pool party with a $1,000 fine for excessive splashing?" Neighbors peeked from windows. Phones out, live streaming the drama. Karen's face reddened. "This is insubordination. Your instability is clear, planting chaos." Sarah laughed, a bark of dark amusement. "Chaos? Pot meat kettle. You're the one turning block parties into Gestapo raids." The confrontation went viral locally, comments flooding. HOA Karen meltdown, priceless. Karen retreated, but not before hissing, "You'll lose everything." That night, Sarah discovered her fence spray-painted, unfit. She photographed it, adding to her growing dossier. "Elena, vandalism. That's escalation. We can countersue." But Sarah savored the irony. Karen, preaching order, resorting to thuggery. Support swelled. Mrs. Patel hosted a solidarity barbecue. No HOA approval needed, as it was educational on rights. Neighbors shared stories. "Karen fined me for a birdhouse," said it attracted undesirables. Laughter mixed with outrage. That perfect chuckle through clenched teeth vibe. Sarah spoke little, but her presence inspired. "She's not broken," one said. "She's unbreakable." Karen countered with a smear newsletter. Resident instability threatens safety. Attached, doctored photos of Sarah raging, actually mid-yawn. But it backfired. Neighbors mocked it at mailboxes. Karen's fanfic quipped Mr. Jenkins. Sarah's journal entry. "Today, grief feels like armor. Their absurdity fuels me." The formal appeal hearing arrived. Community hall packed like a circus. Judge back. Expression wearier. Karen opened dramatically. Sarah's defiance proves unfitness. Wildflowers symbolize mental unraveling. Slides, petals circled in red. Murmurs turned to snickers. Elena demolished. "This is chicanery." Real evidence. Embezzlement receipts. Projector lit up. Karen's expenses. Spa days billed as board retreats. Gasps. Then giggles. Karen sputtered. "Necessary for morale." Judge. Morale or malfeasance? Witnesses piled on. Sarah's stable. Karen's the tyrant. One neighbor, "She banned my gnome collection," called them pagan idols. Laughter erupted. Judge banging for order. Sarah testified calmly. I lost my family, but not my mind. Karen lost her ethics chasing my home. Karen interrupted. Lies. She's hallucinating conspiracies. But her voice pitched comically high, like a deflating balloon. Recess. Karen ambushed Sarah in the lobby. Lackey's absent. Settle now. Sign over or I'll bury you in appeals. Sarah. Recording. Bury? Like how you buried the HOA budget in your Botox fund. Karen's eyes bulged. You ingrate. After all I've done for this community. Sarah done? Like finding widows instead of offering condolences. Karen stormed off, heels clicking like retreating gunfire. Session resumed. Tension electric. Elena dropped the bomb. Audio of Karen's threats. Played aloud. Her voice. Shrill and exposed. The room hushed, then buzzed. Judge, this borders on extortion. Karen collapsed in her seat. Mask shattered. Tears smearing mascara. A pathetic parody of the control freak. But Karen rallied one last ploy, calling her expert witness, the dermatologist pal. Sarah shows signs of distress, dark circles, perhaps mania. Elena cross-examined. You're a skin doctor, diagnosing minds now? Witness stammered. Well, stress affects pores. Laughter roared, dark and cathartic. Judge dismissed, irrelevant. Closing arguments. Karen rambled. Voice breaking. Standards must prevail. Elena. Standards? Or scams? Sarah added softly. This isn't about rules. It's about humanity. Karen forgot that. The judge deliberated briefly, returning with verdict. Appeal denied. HOA board suspended pending audit. Cheers erupted. Karen wailed. This is injustice. But her downfall was pure schadenfreude, the mighty Karen, reduced to blubbering mess. Post-hearing. Chaos. Media swarmed. HOA tyrant toppled. Karen's SUV sped away. But not before neighbors chanted mockingly. Rules are rules. Sarah watched. A quiet smile. Victory tasted bittersweet. Grief lingered. But so did strength. Yet loose ends. Karen's loyalists grumbled. Petty sabotages continued. Trash bins tipped. Anonymous complaints. Sarah fortified. Security cams. Legal protections. Elena. Sue for damages? Sarah pondered. Justice or vengeance? She chose mercy with teeth. Donate fine recoveries to anti-HOA advocacy. Nights. Sarah sat on her porch. Stars above. Whispering to Mark and Emma. We won. The neighborhood shifted. New board elections loomed. Karen's era ending in ridicule. With the appeal crushed. Willow Creek entered a feverish limbo. Karen's influence crumbling like a poorly maintained sidewalk, one she'd find others for. Sarah's home, once a target, became a hub for reform. Neighbors dropped by with casseroles and confessions. Karen made me spy on you, sorry. Sarah forgave selectively, her grief sharpening discernment. No more blind trust, she'd murmur. Sipping damit blooming illegal flowers. Karen didn't fade quietly. Whispers of her scheming reached Sarah. Secret meetings in her McMansion. Plotting a comeback. One evening, Sarah's doorbell cam caught Bob lurking, planting evidence of fake weed patch. She confronted him next day at the park. Recording. Gardening for Karen? How original. Bob fled, mumbling apologies. The clip went viral on neighborhood apps. HOA goon busted. Comments. Laughing so hard. Karen's minions are clowns. Elena's updates fueled the fire. Audit revealed thousand siphoned. Karen's facing charges, fraud, harassment. Sarah's dark humor peaked. She'll look great in orange, matches her spray tan. But empathy flickered. Karen was human, twisted by power. Still, satisfaction brewed as Karen's facade unraveled publicly. A town hall meeting turned circus. Karen, barred from board, attended as concerned citizen, voice quavering. This witch hunt destroys community, but booze drown her. Sarah spoke. Community? You meant control. Applause thundered. Karen stormed out, tripping on her own untied shoelace. Comedic gold. Captured on phones. Karma's a trip, Sarah texted Elena. Personal healing intertwined. Sarah cleared Emma's room slowly, donating toys to charity, each item a memory released. Mark's toolbox became a garden shed project, defying HOA ghosts. Therapy sessions helped. Grief isn't instability, it's proof of love. Neighbors formed a support group, sharing laughs over HOA horrors. Remember when Karen banned red cars? Too aggressive. Karen's desperation peaked. A late-night call. Voice slurred. Wine? Sarah, let's talk. I was misguided. Sarah recorded. Misguided? Or greedy? Karen sobbed. You don't understand pressure. Sarah, pressure? Try burying your child while fined for wilted grass. Click. The audio sealed Elena's case for restraining order. The climax built to the fraud hearing. Real court now. Sarah testified. Voice resonant. Karen weaponized my pain for profit. Evidence mounted. Texts. Recordings. Audits. Karen, in ill-fitting suit, defended shrilly. I enforce standards, but cross-exam. Standards including pocketing dues for your yacht club? She crumbled, admitting partial guilt in tears. Judge, guilty on all counts. Restitution ordered. Karen's wail echoed. Pure. High in your face, justice. Post-verdict. Media frenzy. Karen convicted in HOA scam. Sarah's interview. It's not revenge. It's reclaiming peace. Karen faced probation. Community service, ironically, maintaining public parks. Neighbors joked. She'll find the squirrels. Sarah's world expanded. She ran for new HOA board. Platform. Reasonable rules. No dictators. Elected overwhelmingly. First act. Repeal absurd fines. Like no visible laundry lines, hides poverty. Laughter at meetings now genuine. 6 months later, Sarah hiked nearby trails. Air crisp. Reflecting. Home sold? No, renovated. With a memorial garden for Mark and Emma. Bench. Plaque. Wildflowers. Approved by me, she smiled. A letter arrived. Karen's apology. Handwritten. Remorseful. I lost perspective. Sarah pondered. Then responded. Forgiveness earned. Not given. Bridges? Maybe. But her path was hers now. Evenings on porch. Stars witness. We did it. Grief softened. Strength enduring. In Willow Creek, Karen became legend. A cautionary tale of power's folly. Sarah, the quiet avenger, turning pain to purpose. As seasons turned, Willow Creek shed its rigid skin, blooming under Sarah's balanced leadership. No more midnight compliance checks. Instead, community potlucks where laughter drowned old grievances. Sarah's home stood as testament. Garden thriving. Bird feeder defiant. She'd framed the damning screenshot. Hidden in a drawer, reminder, not relic. Karen's shadow lingered faintly. Probation kept her low, spotted weeding public medians. Gloves mismatched, muttering about standards. Neighbors waved mockingly. She scowled, but powerless. One day, she approached Sarah at the grocery. Can we talk? Voice small, pearls absent. Sarah paused. Cart full. About. Karen shifted. Regret. I projected my failures. Sarah's eyes softened fractionally. Failures like chasing status over sympathy? Karen nodded. I envied your home, your life. Dark irony, the tyrant confessing. Sarah, envy doesn't excuse exploitation. Karen left humbled. Sarah felt closure's whisper. Healing deepened. Sarah volunteered at grief centers. Sharing, loss reshapes. Doesn't ruin. Friends emerged. True ones. Not HOA puppets. Dates? Tentative, with a widower who laughed at her Karen tales. Sounds like a bad sitcom. Black humor bonded them. A year post-victory. HOA reformed. Transparent budgets. No petit finis. Sarah stepped down. Legacy secure. She donated restitution to anti-abuse funds. Renaming a park bench Emma's Rest. Subtle jab at old rules. Final reflection. Driving past Karen's downsized condo. Sarah mused. Forgiveness? Possible. But freedom came from releasing toxic ties. Her new path, travels. Writing a blog on HOA horrors. Viral hits blending satire and survival tips. From victim to victor, titles teased. In quiet moments, whispering to winds. Mark, Emma, we won more than a house. Love's evidence endured. Stronger than any rulebook. Willow Creek thrived. Karen a faded punchline. Justice, satisfyingly served.